This is the Cafe con Podcast.
Just talk about really quick about this episode, bro. I don't even want this intro to be too long because I think it's just a beautiful, no introduction needed. We got Brandon Rose, B Rose, Andy Pettit, part two.
Our first part two. Our first sequel with somebody.
Bring us back from the hiatus, which we've had a little bit of a hiatus. We love you guys. Thank you for listening, first and foremost. Click that subscribe, click that follow. I don't even know what to click, but click them all. And this was just really great, man. I didn't know which way this was going to go, and it just kind of went in the route of creativity. Just kind of however people can be creative in their lives. And we talk a lot about Brandon's travels, his next projects, which are great. Some updates on our lives. You have a big announcement, which was awesome. That I had no idea about. So you guys got to listen. It comes pretty much 3/4 into the episode. So listen to what happened with George. I'll just give you this hint. Hobbiton, wherever Hobbiton is, for those of you that love Lord of the Rings, you'll know what I mean, where it was shot. That's all I'll say. So you guys will have to listen to that. But you hear some stuff about my life as well, some updates on my life. And I mean, it was just great, man. It was just one of those things that just seemed to flow, and all I took from it was that like life right now, all of us seem to be very, I think, in tune with what's happening around us and really grateful. This one to me seemed the most, the least interviewee. You know, we
weren't grasping for anything. Like
we never interviewed to begin with, but it just felt the most just kind of let's just really kick it and talk, right? What did you take from it?
I would say that much too. Yeah, like it didn't feel interviewish. It was cool to just talk to a lifelong friend, especially since it's part two. So it wasn't so much of like, oh, we're getting on to talk to somebody. It was more of like just open the computer and just catch up and see how the last couple months have been in everyone's life, and that, like, I guess that calmness of just being okay where we are in life, and like the journey is the journey. You know, we don't need to worry so much about the destination right now. So,
amen. And at the end, we ask different questions too. I think you guys will like that too. The ending was a little different because this is part two. So, not to get redundant with our questions, we just kind of shifted it, which was really nice. All right, guys, I hope you listen, you enjoy. If you want us to talk about anything, send us your comments, send us your notes. Again, the fact that you're even listening at all is a beautiful thing. We appreciate you.
Even if you guys don't want to come on, if you have a friend that you think would love to come on, like if they have any content they're dropping soon, or just someone that you think would be like fun to talk to, interesting and fun, send it our way. Don't hesitate. Like you guys are us and we're you. Like just because you see us on a screen doesn't mean we're like Showtime or anything like that. Like we're just some cool cats kicking it.
We're just some cool cats that can't fake the funk. That's it, baby. We are the world. Okay, guys, in case you ever forget,
we are the future.
This is the Cafe con Podcast.
Just in case you forgot.
Enjoy.
The liquid gold, baby.
All right, guys. All right. So now obviously, Cafe con Podcast can't happen without cafe. So today, it's interesting. Today, I have been drinking something different that Sky and I... It might be backwards. Is this backwards on the screen?
No. Hold on. Yeah, let me go get mine. Hold on.
Okay, go get yours. Go get yours.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be part of it. I got it.
Yes,
I saw it was about a coffee maker, so I was like, let me do it. All right.
Guys, so Cafe con Podcast cannot happen without Cafe con Cafecito, and we love the Cafecito. George, you want to show what Cafecito you're sipping on?
So I had Cafe Arabico. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right because it has accents on it. Can you see that? It might be backwards.
Yeah, Arabico.
Okay, Arabico.
Yeah, that's a good coffee.
It's a molido. I don't know what that means.
That means ground.
It's ground, guys. I'm not the expert. Isaac is.
Molido just means like ground beef in Spanish. Carne molido.
Okay, I'm reading the back. I'm trying to see where it's from. It's telling me it's from the mountains of. It doesn't say the country, but
They're
we'll
from the
figure it out.
mountains.
They're from the
They're
mountains.
somewhere with mountains. Use your imagination, folks. And what would you give it on a 1 to 10, baby?
I had it straight black, quick little espresso. I'd give it, for what it did for me today, 8.7.
All right.
8.7.
Why?
Because I think I drank the right amount. It was straight black. It didn't take me long to drink it. I got the right amount of energy. I'm kind of catching a second wind right now, like an hour and a half in, 2 hours in, which
Like it.
never really happens with coffee. But 8 points from Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico.
Shout out to Puerto Rico. So
Nice.
the company's called Pasajero 17. Pasajero 17. Café servido con amor.
Nice.
It felt like love. It didn't feel like a shot to the neck of adrenaline. It felt like
I love it.
So shout out to these
8-7.
guys.
Shout out Puerto Rico.
8-7. Honestly,
Café
yeah,
Arábico.
I think that's the highest rating I've given.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure up there.
Yeah.
That is 100%.
Yeah.
And today I'm sipping on North Pole Coffee Company. North Pole Coffee Roasting Company. Now, as you can see, Arctic blueberry.
That sounds tasty.
Dog, you smell this? It smells like blueberries. Sky and I went to Alaska, and this is from Alaska. So I ordered it from the local company in Alaska. They grind it to what you want. I asked for it French press because that's how we drink it usually.
Mm-hmm.
It literally smells like blueberries. You open the bag and it smells like blueberries.
I love
Tastes
blueberries.
like blueberries.
I love blueberries.
We switched it up a little bit because we usually drink Reverent Coffee Company.
Yeah.
But this really tickled our fancy, and it's been unbelievable. I mean, you can drink it black. You can drink it anywhere you want. You can still taste that hint of blueberry. It sounds weird, but it is fantastic. And for these purposes today, I like how you said it, the way that it served me today. I'd give this guy a 7-7.
That's solid.
Yep, and it's a great like table coffee. I don't know if that sounds, you know how you have table wine? It's a great coffee that everybody will like. You can drink it black. I had a little bit of creamer in it, a little bit of almond creamer, silk vanilla almond creamer with my creatine and my collagen peptides in there. And it was great, man. I highly recommend it. You guys can order it online. I get 2 pounds at a time, fairly priced, local company out of Alaska. Highly recommend. Gentlemen, gentlemen, cheers to you both.
Yes,
Cheers.
yes,
Cheers.
Can you see my background?
What happened with your background?
Can you see it?
No. What does it say?
Look what it says. Ooh.
Oh, bro, and peep this. Look at what Riverside can do. Watch this. You're live with Café con Pod. Not only that, not only are you live, but it's B-Rose Part 2. What's up?
We've made leaps and bounds.
Oh, my God. We're moving up in this world, baby. We're moving up in this world.
Can you guys hear
Is this
me?
the first part?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can't even hear I can't hear myself.
You can't hear. We can hear you perfect. I
Yeah?
can hear you perfect. Yeah.
Hold on a
You
second.
could probably
hold
turn
on.
yourself up a little more. Sounds like you're on some late night radio.
Yeah?
Yeah. It
How about
sounds
now?
like
How about,
it's very loud.
wait, test. How about now?
Very good.
Is that fine?
Yeah, it's very good. So
Is
let's
this
do
too
it.
loud? This is too loud, right?
That's too loud. Yep,
Tell me
that's
when
too
to stop.
loud.
Right here?
Keep talking. Start counting it off while you're turning it up and
1,
down.
2, 3,
Too
4,
loud. Too loud.
5,
That's good.
6,
Nope.
7,
Nope. Go
8,
back to 5. Nope. Go back to 5. 5
1,
was good.
2, 3,
That's
4.
good. No. 3. No 4. 3.
Okay, let's start over with the cheers.
All right, we're back. Cheers, boys. Cheers. Cheers. Oh, that's delightful. That's
So
delightful.
long.
Oh, that's amazing. Just in case everybody needed to know who they're live with. And wait, before we even get into it, you got to remember, always.
This is the Café con Podcast.
Absolutely. And it's part 2, baby.
The first part 2 we've had.
The first part 2, deuce. We needed a deuce.
Yeah, we
especially
did.
after this morning. Deuce seems very appropriate after this morning. And a little coffee feels good. What's going on? Bro, we haven't done a pod in a minute.
How long's it been?
It's been a minute. It's been probably a couple months. It's been a couple months since we've done it. Yeah, dude.
That long.
Yeah,
Boy, Isaac's been busy, man. He's been grinding.
yeah. That's what I was gonna get into when we were on here, but
You
no,
too,
yeah.
man.
We've both been busy. We've both been busy, but
There's been a
Isaac's
lot of
been doing
stuff
the damn thing.
that's been happening in life. That's why I'm glad that we're doing this, because I think all three of us have been doing a lot of stuff. Because I saw you posted something the other day, Rose, of you performing. Where were you performing? Let's get into that.
Get into it. It was in Atlanta. So we had a show. We're running this thing called Intimate Sounds. It's an idea that me, a friend of mine named Britt, and a friend of mine named Shannon came up with. So just wanted a platform for artists to be able to perform in a setting that they feel comfortable in, right? So this time around, it was in the studio. Me personally, I feel super comfortable whenever I'm performing in the studio. That's why it felt good for me being in there. George is supposed to be there. Talk about
Yeah, I was traveling. I was somewhere other country.
Ask George if he's ever visited me in Atlanta.
Have you ever visited him in Atlanta, George?
Yes and no.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
what is-
Well, I would say yes and no because I used to go there for work.
He's going
That
a
was
lot.
the only
Okay,
time.
so you didn't visit him. You were just in Atlanta.
Yeah, but we would always link up when I was there.
Oh,
So.
all right. Well, at least I haven't been to Atlanta, so I can't talk shit.
You've never been to
You're on
Atlanta?
the West Coast, so it's a little,
That's true.
close.
That's I am on the West Coast. It's different. I have driven through Atlanta, but I've never. I'm sure I've stopped in Atlanta when we used to go to North Carolina a lot when I was a kid. I'm sure we drove through Savannah a lot. Savannah, Georgia. We used to go through there quite a bit.
Beautiful.
But yeah, it's gorgeous. I love
Absolutely.
Georgia, man. I really do. Where do you in Atlanta? Are you in downtown, Rose, or are you like outside of downtown?
outside of
Because
downtown.
I know it's like I know it's like rings, right? The way, because I have a lot of friends that live there, and they told me it's like outer ring, inner ring. I don't know what it's called, but that's what the way they describe it to me.
It's like a circle, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I do. You like it, bro?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good melting pot for artists, like kind of like what LA is for you with the acting. Different pockets, obviously, but anywhere you just got to find, a subset of people that you feel, I don't want to say feel comfortable with, but I'm going to say feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
That you can, create with, collaborate with, and just build that network and that circle of influence. So,
Actually, that's a really good. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's something that just came up in my mind. Like, what have you found has been the people that, as you've grown as an artist, right? Because we're all the same age, that you can collaborate with, or have you found the people that I guess mesh with you the best? Because I feel like it's changed for me.
yeah, and that it changes too as well for whatever reason. You have relationships, people come in your life for a reason, then they may leave for a little bit, then they may come back. But what's been surprising for me, for the most part, people are pretty open to collaborate, right? It's just like finding that time to really do it. Like it's easy to say, oh, bro, let's work, or, let's get together, let's do this, and, all of that. Like there's a lot of that, but, taking the time for when it actually feels right with somebody to get in and lock in. Those are, and the times that I've done that here, it's been very special. Music's very collaborative, like more collaborative than I guess acting, right? Even though you did the collaboration when you guys were running that series a couple of years ago, but yeah, I mean, it's just being open and me being vulnerable to people because music's very dear to me. So just me letting you hear a song of mine means a lot to me, and then taking that next step and actually working with the song with you is like a lot, and it's a true bond, and I'm very grateful for the people I've been able to do that with out here so far.
It's interesting. Collaboration in general is interesting because, like you were saying, with art, it's so near and dear to people that they strangle it sometimes when they're the ones that are creating. You know what I mean? It's like when you have somebody that, so for instance, I can only talk about it through my own lens, but just being on a set, and let's say you're working with a writer director, one who has written it and is directing it, they can sometimes feel a certain sense of ownership over that thing because they wrote it. So they thought it out, they vomited it on the page, and now they know what they pictured it in their mind. And if you're not bringing that to them, sometimes they strangle it. But it's interesting because I think that the best forms of collaboration are when people are just open to any idea from anyone that's going to work, right? You know, I mean, I can feel when something's like, all right, that doesn't necessarily feel amazing, but you know, let's try it. Maybe I'll be surprised. I've been wrong before many times in my life. So let's try it and see what happens, right? But it's the whole idea of collaboration.
Like in those times, have there been times where it's like, this doesn't feel right, and then it ends up being like something way more than you actually thought it would be?
Yes, 100%. And it usually is when I'm in my acting class. So for our acting class, it's like a scene study class, and nobody directs us, right? So you get a scene, you do it for 4 weeks, right? You work on one scene a month and with one partner. And that's where I've really learned to like have to collaborate with other people, because you don't have a director, right? So you have the scene, you learn it, you rehearse with your partner, and you kind of direct yourselves. And what I've learned is you got to just try the ideas from those other people's points of view, because even if it sounds like it doesn't work and then you try it, sometimes you're like, wow, that was a lot different than anything I could have thought of. It's like if you put somebody in front of this painting, if you put 10 people in front of this painting and they look at it, you're going to get 10 different things. Hi. You're going to get 10 different things of people talking about, right? One person might talk about this tree. The other person might talk about this river. You know, it's just, you're going to see different perspectives from different viewpoints. So I have certainly seen that my perspective is isolated to just myself. And when it comes to art like this, you need all the different perspectives. You need all the colors. You need the frame. You need everything. You can't just have one point of view, because then it becomes very limiting. However, we have seen things in which when people only have a very specific point of view and they do that thing, that it ends up being really friggin' awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I just watched have you guys seen Whiplash? Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah,
Whiplash?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bro, if you haven't seen it, Rose, watch it. It is unbelievable.
What's it about?
It's about a drummer in this. Okay. So I saw
on him. He was going crazy. Could you deal with that? He was tripping.
Could I deal with that? Maybe, but I don't know for how long. That's the only other thing. I'm like, we did deal with that, bro. Let's go back to our childhood. Coach Smith.
R.I.P.
What?
Yeah, bro.
What?
Yeah.
What? No.
A couple years back, yeah, I swear.
No.
Yeah, bro.
No.
Yeah. But let's carry on.
Really, bro?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're not thinking about the other guy that was the heavyset guy?
No.
What? Damn, that is sad. Rest in peace. God bless him.
Yeah.
Damn, that is sad. Well, that doesn't mean that he didn't treat us like a drill sergeant. So he still did treat us like a drill sergeant. God rest his soul. I still credit him with my abs to this day, because we were in 5th grade, and this guy, talking about just the way that J.K. Simmons treated Miles Teller in that movie. We were 5th grade, 6th grade kids, right? And this guy, we would have to do, I'll never forget, 6 inches. We'd be in full pads in the Miami heat, so dripping sweat.
Oh, he coached you guys for football.
Yeah.
He coached me in basketball, because he was a basketball coach. But carry on.
What?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
He used to be the varsity coach. When we were kids.
I thought Reamer was the varsity coach when we were kids.
Before him. It was before him. Like
right
before
all right,
him.
all right.
We were still kids.
You were on the varsity team when we were children?
No, but he used to coach me in the summers. He used to put this machine on my arm, so I had perfect form to shoot a basketball. Good
for him, bro.
Yeah.
He was wild.
Okay, so football.
Bro, I just remember that we would be doing push-ups and 6 inches, right? Where you have to lift your legs off the ground, put them back down, and push-ups. And if you weren't doing a push-up the right way, you had your helmet on, because before you knew it, you'd feel a ding, because he would be beaming footballs at children's heads with their helmets on. And then I just remember he'd go, take off. And you'd have to run a mile around the entire baseball field because you weren't doing a push-up the right way, dripping sweat. You're 11 years old.
He really used to say, "Take off." That was his thing.
Take off. Take off. Take
No,
off.
nothing.
And if you
Coach,
talk back to him,
take off.
take off. If you said anything to him, take off. And you just, I still remember it to this day, bro. And then I remember we were playing in 6th grade. We were playing, and he was a ref, and I was playing corner. Nobody passed in 6th grade. Let's be real. So it was great. It was a very
I got
easy.
one interception.
It was great for me. And the only person that really took that serious was Nicky Bobby, taking out those knees. He played free safety, and he was free. He was free to chop those knees down. So I just remember I was playing corner, and Coach Smith looks at me. He goes, "You're not going to do anything, pretty boy." He's a ref talking like shit to me. And like the other wide receivers right there, he's like, he's going to burn you. You got nothing, pretty boy. That's all he would call me, was pretty boy. And I was like, what is this guy? What is happening? God rest his soul. But
Mental toughness, man.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's that stuff works to a point, right? So I think it works to a point. I think I could take that. Do you think you could take it? Both of you. You guys think you could? Does that help you when it comes to a coach?
You can go ahead, Rose. I mean, I know my answer already, but
If you know your answer already, go.
hell no, that won't work.
That's what I was gonna say.
Hell no. I'll explain why. I'm a type of person that, like, I don't need you to like hype me up, but I don't need you to tear me down either. Like, just keep it simple to me, and I'll figure it out. I don't know. That's how my personality is. I'm very just even keel. So it's like, don't tip me off my scale. No pun intended. Just tell me what I need to do right and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then we'll keep it pushing. Like,
can I modify the question a little bit? Because we're at a certain age now where I think that we all don't need that anymore, right? We figured out a little bit more about who we are. Do you think that you would have been able to take it, or would have helped you when we were like in our early 20s, when you're coming up? How do you think it would have been different, that type of coaching, when we were younger?
no, I think the same, because like from a young age I knew what motivated me and what also like broke me down. And a lot of my best coaches, I think the big thing is more about the coaches, not the player. Like, a coach has to understand each player, what motivates them, what gets them ticking, right? So some of the best coaches I've had were a player's coach. They just knew, okay, I need to get on this guy's case to get him going, or this guy, I'll just give him little pointers and I know he's gonna follow up with it. So maybe it's me being stubborn, but I mean, I saw it from experience. There were some guys that just got motivated from getting yelled at, and then there was other guys that you just, hey, do this, and this, and we'll talk about whatever we need to fix after that. And I was that type of person, just because I came from a very high level winning environment, and like I said, some of the best coaches just knew, okay, George doesn't need this.
Yeah.
I had the opposite. I've had coaches that just tried too hard, and it just never worked for me or the team, because when they tried too hard from A to Z, every player. They didn't just like split the hairs of who needed what. So that was my experience growing up. So I knew it before my 20s, easily.
I would, for me, I think I'm my biggest critic. Like, I'm super critical of myself. So a lot of times I want to hear that from somebody else. I look for that when receiving critique from other people, whether it's a coach, whether it's somebody listening to something I made. Like, I'm going to be the most critical. So in turn, I'm like wanting to hear some of that back. I haven't received too much of that in my adult years, or really throughout in my entire life. And I can't say, I don't know what would be different if I had. But I'm pretty adaptable. So I feel like anything that you've told me, I haven't already thought of myself.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna feel any type of way. I'm gonna take whatever you say, digest it, download it, and then keep it moving, and then either throw it to the side or just really use that to make me better, or you just use that to help the next song I write, or I don't know, whatever the next thing I do. It also depends on who it's coming from, and my opinion of you and my opinion of your opinion. So all of that is
Damn.
very.
That's a good one.
Yes, my opinion of your opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I just.
But I've noticed that with Rose when we make music early on, like, actually, no, it took me a little more time because he can be very subtle with certain things. But then I noticed over time that like he values my opinion when we're making music or just being creative. Because when I was first making music with Rose, it was like, okay, he's doing his thing. I'm more of like, I just made the beat, you do your thing. But then when we got in the studio, there were certain times he would look for advice because it's like, A, it's my beat, and second, like he trusts my ear. So I've noticed that, I've witnessed that firsthand with Rose about he's critical of himself, but for that reason he's like wanting to hear feedback on what he's doing creatively, at least in that realm that we've worked in.
Yeah, I go ahead, Rose. I won't forget what I was going to say.
No, it is important, and I'm trying to do better with that. Like especially now, like with the music I'm getting ready to release. Just send it, or whenever I'm about to release, whether it's a project, more specifically a project. Like I'll send it to close knit group of people that I value them and I value their opinion, and just get their thoughts on it. And that's like the last step before everybody.
Bro, one thing what I was going to say was, and then I want to get to the new music. I heard that. I'm not going to forget it. Last time, I think we talked about taking criticism and how you're your own worst critic. I think we talked about that last time, actually.
Yeah.
So it's funny that's kind of coming up again, because that's also like a plight of an artist, right, Mama? Don't you think? How you take criticism. You want to come say hello?
Sure.
Come say hello.
Hold on.
Sure. No, that was too high pitched. Sure.
What do you mean? You look beautiful. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm packing
Hi.
some
Okay,
shit.
go pack.
The ever wanderless travelers. She's
Yes,
packing.
yes, she is.
Where are you guys headed now?
I'm not going anywhere. She's
Oh,
going
okay.
somewhere. I'll tell you offline.
Okay,
Why?
cool,
I'll
cool.
tell you offline.
Okay.
So, just how you take criticism and how you deal with criticism also helps with that collaboration we were talking about a little bit earlier. Because sometimes when somebody gives you a collaborative piece of advice or whatever, it might sound like criticism, but it's actually not. Right? So it's like, how do you perceive the way that somebody's telling you something? So that was interesting. And something that I was going to say about both of you that's similar is that both of you are big time listeners. You guys have that in similarity. I don't know if that's the right way to say that.
Very observant.
Yeah, you're very observant, but you're good listeners. You're gregarious in your own way and your own nature, but you also have this sense of observing, taking in, seeing what other people are saying, see how other people are moving. And I don't know, man, I think that's like a superpower. The older you get, how McConaughey always says, you figure out who you are by figuring out who you're not, right? That's when you start to figure out who you are. All right. So I think that is something that's certainly something that's going to help you guys as you keep going, because a lot of people don't know how to shut up, and I'm talking like crazy right now, but people don't know how to stop and just listen to one another, which is difficult. It really is, to just sit and listen and not say anything back. It's hard. But what I was going to say was, let's talk about the new stuff that's cooking up. What is this? You just said you're dropping new music. Yeah, talk to us about what you're cooking.
It's cooked. It's cooked.
Ooh.
It's cooked. Well, it's still cooking, but so I took a solo trip earlier in the year and recorded some stuff.
Where?
out there.
Where'd you go?
I went to Switzerland. I went to Italy.
No big deal. No big deal.
What? Okay, we'll get to that. Continue.
And yeah, man, I had like a lot of beats that I was sitting on. And, I didn't record too much in Switzerland, but when I was in Italy, I really was just in my room. I was there for like 6 days. I was just in my room cooking. Like I would walk the city throughout the whole day, shop, just really take the city in, get inspired by what I'm seeing. Um, really just what I'm seeing. And then I would go back to the room, I get some wine, and then just cook for the rest of the throw on Batman and just cook the rest of the night. So
Ooh, what were we talking about? Dark Knight?
all of them, I had enough time to watch all of them. I'm really grown to like Robbie Pease though. Robbie Pease, I like Robbie Pease a lot. Like
What is
just
Robbie
like
Peace?
Robert Pattinson.
The Batman.
We saw that together.
Yeah, we did on my birthday.
We saw that together out here. That was wild.
Dude, I saw that for the first time like 3 months ago.
It's good. I have to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it since we saw it. I have to give it another shot
It's
personally.
good, bro. It's
I
good.
put it on when I'm recording because it just looks so
Aesthetically, yes.
yeah,
So
dark,
good.
and I record in the dark a lot, and like it just I don't know. It's
Sets
you
the
like
mood.
the dark? Yeah, it sets the
A
mood.
lot.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to, because when it first came out, everyone was like, no one said it was bad, but no one was like, it's not like the other ones, you know. It's not like the
very
other
well.
ones. But I like how grim. I like how grim it was. I think Batman. That it did justice to like who Batman was, at least during that time, like what he was going through, right? Like we see the Joaquin Phoenix version of the Joker, and to me, it wasn't exactly the same as that, but it kind of was in the same vein of like, I mean, Batman movies have never been glamorous, but if there had to be a grungy version, it was the one of Joaquin Phoenix and the one of Robbie P. Of like, just job chose them. They didn't choose this life, and it's not a fun life. Like it's
definitely easy to
somewhat
know.
sad, but it's like they have no choice but to do it, or they're gonna die. You know,
It's grunge. It's grunge. I mean, they literally have like Nirvana on the
So
soundtrack.
good, bro.
So I mean, it is. It's like grungy and nerddom about that movie. That movie's based off of. I'm almost positive it's based off of Batman Year One comics, and it's literally like Batman not knowing how to be Batman. That comic.
That's what my Uncle Jared told me. Yeah.
It's all told through the perspective. That comic specifically is told through the perspective of Jim Gordon, and Jim Gordon's a young cop coming up. You know, just he's also learning, and Batman is making a lot of mistakes. The reason why that movie caught me off guard was because it's like the first movie that Batman is Batman. It's about the Batman. It's not about Bruce Wayne, that movie. It's about the Batman and him being a detective, you know, and the world's greatest detective. So him doing everything. Whereas the Dark Knight trilogy is more so about Bruce Wayne. So it's more so about who Bruce Wayne is underneath the cowl. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. You know, it's literally like that's the whole point of the Dark Knight trilogy.
He's like already figured himself out. He's already kind of figured himself out as Batman.
He's figuring himself out more so about who Bruce Wayne is, not necessarily who Batman is.
But I'm saying like he already knows, like he's getting back to who, like. Would you say the Robert Pattinson one is like a younger version compared to the
Yes.
the Dark Knight?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would assume so.
say-
It's
yeah.
just different. It's just different ways. That's the beautiful thing about Batman, bro. He's like one of the only comic book characters that you can have the same age, same timeline, but completely different standalone stories. You know, where they don't have to match each other. That's like one of the most amazing things about that character is you can make the same movie in 85 different ways. And what I mean by the same movie is like the same time frame of where he is. And it could be completely different. You know, that's I agree though. And Zoe Kravitz, good God. God bless you.
She
And
did a
God
great
bless-
job. Besides what we're saying, God bless, but she did a great job acting wise. I think.
No, I
think she
agree.
killed it. I think she
and
killed it.
she did an amazing Catwoman.
Amazing.
Her acting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Good God, the acting is incredible, and she's just she's with Channing Tatum now, I think. But that's
Really?
who gives a fuck about that? Like it's just kind of like that's just
Hey,
tabloid shit.
before we carry on back to the luxurious places this man has been.
Yes.
I had a little side note because you did mention Matthew McConaughey. Do you feel like movies have stagnated a little bit? Like I haven't really seen any movies come out, man.
Nah.
You don't think
Twisters
so?
just came out. Twisters just came out, bro, and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I saw Inside Out too, and I wept like a baby.
I heard that was good. But I'm just saying
Wow.
like the consistency of like, especially now it's summer, there's not like a bunch of movies coming out.
Yeah, there are movies coming out every weekend. Yeah, Deadpool comes out next weekend.
Oh, it's true. There we go. That's gonna save the
Bad
summer.
Boys 4 came out. I haven't seen
Did
it.
you
I heard that
watch
was
it?
good. I heard it was good.
I saw it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I
Bad Boys, Rush Hour.
Bad Boys.
I watched Rush Hour 2 last night. That's funny.
Oh, great movie. Great movie. I thought Bad Boys 4 was pretty good. As you have to be a fan of the other ones. As a standalone movie, it's a fun action movie. I really enjoyed it as a fan of the other ones because
they looped in a lot of stuff from the previous one.
yeah, bro. Like Reggie's in it. You know, Reggie.
For real?
Like motherfucker, you're at least 30. That Reggie's in it, and he's like a big part in it. So
way.
yeah, dude, it was really cool seeing that. You know,
That's the
like,
last one they're gonna make. Or they left
I
the
don't
door
know.
open.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. But those movies have it made Will Smith surpass like $1 billion at the global box office as an actor. So if they can still make money off them, I'm gonna wait. I have no idea.
The first hip hop artist to win a Grammy.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
That's. I guess it's not that surprising.
That was like the first. Well, that was the first year they little side note, but that was the first year that they opened up a category for hip hop and urban. I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems weird, bro. I'm like A Tribe Called Quest. It's just interesting to think about that because you had Lauryn Hill.
They had to pick someone mainstream wise. I think that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's probably what it was. Okay, let's get back to because I wrote some stuff down because I know I was going to forget them. You kind of talked about how you recorded. Did you take your own mic with you? Because I think this is cool, bro. If somebody wants to do this, right? Let's just say
I like this.
Yeah, people want to record. You know, they want to make music, whatever, and they don't know how. I think it's beautiful that you went to these places. So I want to talk about the mechanism of how you recorded, and then I'll get a little bit more into the psyche of it. But did you take your mic with you when you went over there? Like, how did you record?
Tell us the whole process. When you
Yeah.
landed, what did you do? Like, I think, like you said, it's gonna help people not only just record, but like go somewhere and be creative.
Exactly, create.
Yeah, but as far as the like the mechanism, what I use, like all you need is a laptop and interface and a mic. But even nowadays, it could even be stripped down to just your phone.
Right.
Like that's really all you need. Because a lot of the stuff I recorded was just on my phone, like ideas, whether I was humming a melody or just rapping one bar, and like it may turn into songs. Some, I may not even touch again, but it's really all I needed, man. And I ended up recorded like over 30. I call them ideas.
Wow.
In like that week in Milan. So the project I'm gonna drop is only gonna be 3, just because those are the 3 that I feel good about. I sent you one of them, George, that I finished. But as far as like the process, man, it's good to feel like you don't have a time constraint on what you're doing. Like you're just out there, you're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this because I want to. I'm not doing this because I'm in the studio and I'm paying however many times per hour, or I'm doing this because I feel like I have to drop something soon. It was really just a trip to go out and just, I don't want to say find myself, that's too much, but just like really get lost in everything that's around me, and then being able to translate that into or channel that through my creativity. So a lot of like everything I did, man, just in Milan specifically, I didn't really meet too many people out there. I just really walked around every day, bro. Like I just went for a long ass walk and got lost, and then found my way back to the spot, and then just recorded, and it was awesome. Like just that was free, Like I felt
Yes.
free. It felt very creative. Last time I felt that way, like creatively, was when we were in Arizona. It was just like everything was just coming easy, and to this day, like that's the most excited I get, like when I come up with a new idea and I'm able to, translate my thoughts or my feelings or my emotions into song or into a melody. Like that's that'll never get old to me, never. Um, for me personally, because I'm somebody like when it comes to speaking about feelings and speaking about my emotions, I'm not the best. But for some reason, when I'm recording or I'm doing music, it comes so easy, you know. That's what I really want to give people, continue to give people as I make music, and that's the reason why I'll probably never stop because I need that channel to get some of that stuff out, right?
Yeah, that
Like
outlet.
garbage disposal, but like if everything is just backed up with no outlet to release, I don't know what'll happen. I don't know what type of person I'll be, honestly. But it was a beautiful time, and my first solo trip, like true solo trip. Like
Dog,
usually,
that's a big trip too, bro.
Yeah.
yeah, like usually it's Huey that comes with the kid, you know. But he had to. I don't think he got permission from his girlie to come.
Ha
You know,
ha ha
yeah, it was her birthday.
ha.
It was her birthday, so
It's
naturally,
good
right?
for him because a move that
Good.
Hugh would do would be leave on her birthday, and he's like, "Well,
Yeah,
I didn't think about it." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the point. That's exactly the point. You didn't
You're
think
right.
about it. All right."
so, but it's like really interesting. It's like really interesting, man. And just I went to a lot of cool places, met some dope people, and just being in my own world, on another part of the world, like it was really awesome. And yeah, man, it was dope.
This dude FaceTimed me like at 4 in the
I
morning.
did.
He's like, dude, there's Colombians here. Was it Switzerland? Was it Switzerland?
It was Switzerland, yeah.
Bro, he FaceTimed me and all I hear is like salsa music. And I'm like, aren't you in Switzerland? He's like, yeah, bro, they got a salsa bar here and stuff. I'm like, dude, Europe is awesome, bro.
Oh,
That's crazy.
okay. So where did you go? You went to Milan in Italy. Did you go anywhere else in Italy?
Nah. And then I went to Zurich in Switzerland. And then
Bro.
some other towns in Switzerland too. I don't remember the name of them, but it was crazy. I was on a tour in one of the cities, and I met somebody that had my same birthday. Like while I
That's
was
cool.
out there, it was crazy. Like we're just walking, and she's like, "Yeah, you know," she's by herself too. Her name is Christina. She's cool. She's from Spain, but she was like, "Yeah, I'm here by myself, hopping around Europe for a birthday trip." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Hold on, when's your birthday?" She's like, "March 7th." And I was like, "Oh shit, it's my birthday too." And I've never met somebody like with my same birthday, but I just happened to meet,
Yep.
somebody with my same birthday in Europe, and I wasn't even supposed to be on that tour. Like I missed the original one that I was supposed to be on because I got too faded with the Colombians, and like I just missed. Like I was like, "Man, fuck this, I can't." Too early, so I ended up, going the next day and just like I met one person that led to a relationship with another person that led to, us going out that night, which made me meet a whole nother subset of people, which we ended up going to, lunch and, ended up going to a bunch of stuff that next day and then like just going out, like meeting more and more people. So like, everything truly, truly happens for a reason, man. For real.
Bro, that's the best. Traveling, it just opens up so much. And I'm so happy for you, bro. That honestly, like, I mean, Milan sounds amazing. We're dying to go to Italy. And we were literally looking up, because Sky has a big birthday this year. So I was like, let's go on a trip, international trip. Let's go to Switzerland. So we were looking up all the ski resorts in Switzerland. I went there in high school. Is
What part?
unbelievable. And something you were talking about before I forget. Do you watch Demon Slayer, by the way? Because I know you like anime.
No.
Dog, you need to hop on Demon Slayer.
Is that Netflix?
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
It's shonen, so it's like the Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, that kind of vibe. It's amazing. Do you watch My Hero? Have you started watching My Hero Academia?
Yeah, I started watching.
Bro, that show's awesome. But anyways, I saved this panel because I read the manga, and the manga is beautiful, and I'll read to you what it says, but it just talks about creating. So it literally says, those who don't give to others will never receive anything back from them, just like those who only desire will end up with nothing, because you can't create anything. So specifically that last part, Just like those who only desire will end up with nothing because you can't create anything. And that's something that when you were talking about just being creative, when people desire, you know, I've been talking about this a lot lately. You're wanting what somebody else has, so you're taking because you feel like your cup is empty. You're taking. So you see something that's out over there and you're trying to grab it and bring it into you. You can't create from that place. There's no creation that can happen because your cup, in your estimation, is empty. So you need what they have to fill in your cup. Whereas when you're giving to others, you have an abundance. You're in that abundance mindset and you're able to create. You're able to give off your own substance, whatever it is, your liquid, whatever, your sustenance, to someone else. You're creating from that place. You can never create from a place of desire. And you are living in that abundance. And that's the same thing with meeting those people. You wanted nothing from them, I'm sure, because it was just like a good time.
Yeah,
You guys were all coming together.
Yeah, and I'll tell you like a cool story. So like we group of people I met, like we went to this restaurant that one of them worked at, and the restaurant, their shirts, like they were like they had cool shirts to wear at the restaurant. Like, I won't go into too much of how they were, but anyway, I was like, damn, I really want one of those. Like those are cool. So
You can go into that if you want, bro. You can talk about the shirts.
they were it doesn't matter. But anyway, I wanted this like it goes into what you were saying. So I was like, yeah. So we're eating at the restaurant, amazing restaurant by the way. Service, food is awesome. So we're there, and I'm like, yeah, those shirts are really dope. And they're like, yeah, you can get them so and so. But I think I was leaving to go to Milan the next day, and when I came back, we the same group of people, we all got together, and I went to I was at a bar, and they met me at the bar, and they had the shirt, like they knew it was like,
Oh,
That's cool.
and they're like yeah, where you at? And I thought they just wanted to meet up so we can all go out, right? And they were like, but like I was being evasive like I usually am. Like I was moving on my own time, so I was downstairs having a drink, and then they just pulled up and they like had a bag, and they had the shirt.
that's so nice.
That's like, and it goes back to what you were saying. Like we were just like catching vibes. Like it was nothing. I didn't want anything from them. Just, we were just kicking it. I was really, enamored with their culture, and I just wanted to know more about, I was really enamored with their culture, wanted to know more about it, and was just so fascinated by, these people. And it just turned into like, yeah, here's a shirt. And, it was so dope. It just goes into what you were saying. Like, I'm sure if like I was some, weirdo creep, I was like, yeah, blah, 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 or, you know what I'm saying? And then they would be like, oh, this guy's weird, or, so that goes into what you're saying. Just like, you got to be able to give and to receive.
Bro, even in the way that you probably said you wanted the shirt, if you're a weirdo, you're like, oh man, I love that shirt. I want one. And you made it this big deal.
Like
then they'd probably be
it,
like,
you said.
yeah, they'd be like, bro, get the, what?
Get
All right, it's nice.
yes,
Go get your own fucking
yeah,
shirt.
relax.
You know what I mean? But because you were probably like, damn, dude, it probably happened organically in the flow of conversation. Oh man, whatever. The point is, your cup was full, and there's nothing like traveling to make you realize you have everything you need, And when you go to these places and you're traveling solo, moving on your own time, I think walking around a city also, we did that in Norway. We did that everywhere we went for a honeymoon. But in Norway specifically, we would just walk for hours and hours and hours. And it was unbelievable. You get a feel from like, same thing in London. When we went to London, bro, we would just walk everywhere, and you just hear the people. You see people move. You see the way they treat one another. You see how they look at each other. Do they make eye contact? You feel the history from the buildings. That's the other thing, man. The architecture in these places. You can literally feel that energy. And you just see people moving inside those buildings. Whenever I see people in there, I'm like, I wonder who was in there 100 years ago and what they were doing inside that building. Because right now, there's somebody sitting at a desk in there. It probably wasn't a desk, 300 years ago, whatever it was, right? It's just unbelievable. So that's something I wanted to ask. How did each place influence your sound or your creative process? Did it or did it not?
Uh,
Question.
when I was in Zurich, uh, it was more so. I don't think it did. Um, honestly, I think I was just like really, or maybe subconsciously it did. I'm just speaking
Well,
like
which one was first, Switzerland or Italy?
Zurich was first. So,
Okay.
I mean, naturally, it probably did because when I went to Italy, that's when, I recorded, all that music or created ideas or however you call it. So, like, um, when I was in the first place, when I was in Switzerland, I don't know, I really didn't, I wasn't thinking about music or creating music. I think that was the beauty of it. Like, even in Milan, like, I really wasn't thinking about it. It was just like, man, like, just trying to get lost in the city. I wasn't consciously trying to, find inspiration or searching for it. Um, 'Cause you really don't have to search for it. Everything that you need is here. Every creative should know that. Everything that you think you're looking for, you already have it. So you don't need to look. Just be present and take everything in. So that's really what I was trying to do. Just like be present, take everything in, get out of my comfort zone a bit because obviously it's like the first time I'm, somewhere by myself. And I think that all played a part into the ideas that came. Like I just, got into this state where it's, all right, I'm relaxed, I'm comfortable, ideas are just flowing. Like all the restrictions are gone mentally. Like I'm just sitting down. There's no time restriction. There's nobody telling me I need to do this. I'm doing this because I want to and because I'm truly inspired by everything that I'm looking at, everything that I'm seeing. So like when I go some places, like I get really inspired by people's style. That's one of my things, like seeing how people dress and seeing how people express themselves and all the different ways that you can express yourself, right? But, you know, visually, the main thing that you can see is how people dress, or just like interactions between people, like with people watching, looking at how they dress, how they express themselves, how they interact with their friends, stuff like that. And then, that all of that just put me in a state of just calm and relaxed and just ready to make music. Because when I was in Zurich, I didn't really, like, I had my stuff. It wasn't, but I just didn't. I'm like, I need to record now. So I didn't want to do that. Like, I have to record this music now because I'm in Europe. Like, I have to. It wasn't that. But when I got to Milan, I was like, all right, cool. Shit, I got nothing else to do. Let's play some beats and let's see what happens. Uh,
How many days were you in each city again?
I was in Zurich for 2 weeks and Milan for one.
Okay, that's
So,
That's perfect amount to be somewhere. I think.
You were
Got-
in Zurich for how long? Sorry, I
2
missed it
weeks.
because I was clicking. 2 weeks. Damn, dog. You took a long trip. So you were out there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a very good amount of time. And alone, a solo trip.
Yeah,
That's
so the
awesome.
name of the EP is Alone in Milan. So,
How many
and
songs? How many songs are we expecting? Should we expect?
it's only going to be 3. It's only gonna
Perfect. That's all. Hey, bro. Holy Trinity. You don't need
But
more than 3.
it sounds like what the name is.
Mm.
I'm really proud of it. Holy Trinity, yes. And like there'll be other music with more songs from that trip that people will hear, but these 3 are the feel or what I feel that I want to release right now for everybody to hear. I feel like, well, I know that for most of being an artist, like I made a lot of music with Grief, and then there's Shilla, and like most of my catalog is still that. So I was actually just thinking about it today. Like I need to release more music, you know, by myself to give people more of me and to give more of an insight of, Brandon, right?
Are
So
we doing it under the same artist name or a separate artist name?
same artist name, Brandon.
Okay.
It's like,
Okay.
What are you shooting for? Quarter 3 or quarter 4 or like beginning of next year? What are you thinking?
like if I'm looking I need it mixed. That's the only thing I'm waiting on. So I'm really thinking like early August.
Okay.
It's coming
Oh shit,
soon.
it was around the corner.
Exclusive
then-
to Cafe con Pod. Coming early August.
The longer project called Hollywood Forever is gonna come like Q3, Q4, and it's called Hollywood Forever because like Batman Forever.
Yeah.
So, you know, and there's when me and Hugh were in LA, there was a hotel that we saw that was called Hollywood Forever, and I was like, damn, that's a cool name. I should name the project. So,
I think there's also a cemetery where all of the major stars are buried. That's called
wow.
Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
That's kind of cool.
If I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken.
It would make sense.
But sounds good. Don't Google it. Just believe it. Sounds good.
Hey, just like a side note to you guys, sorry, Isaac, but like real quick, isn't it kind of cool though that like, because you guys are saying like Hollywood Forever, that like we get to create things that will be here once we're gone, like video or audio. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a question, but it's kind of a question. But it's like if you guys want to give your own take on that, that like that we're in creative spaces where, like, no matter where we like, for instance, like there's this DJ or not even just like when we're gone, but like even while we're living, it's living somewhere else maybe, right? Online. Like for instance, there's this DJ that played my music in New Zealand, bro. Like in a club with like
yeah, I saw that,
hundreds
man. Congrats, bro. That's a good look.
What?
it's so humbling, bro.
Okay,
It's
let's
so
talk
humbling.
about that. I have I see. This is like when George is in a relationship. I don't know until the relationship's over that he was dating a girl for 2.5 years. What is the same thing with this? What, bro? What are you talking about?
Okay, so I'll go into that, but you get what I mean though in general.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just been sending music. I just kind of just bit the bullet and just started sending music out because I was just trying to like recalibrate a sound I wanted to make, and I just sent a music out to this DJ that's known in Europe, and he replied. He was like, "Hey man, I really like this track you sent me. It's a strong track. I'm gonna test it out in these next couple weeks when I go out and play." I was like, "Okay, cool." And literally 2 days later, he played it like back-to-back nights in New Zealand, bro.
Bro, that's amazing. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. It's an unreleased song, but it's just to go to show that like you can create something
You should
and
probably release it.
say it again.
You should probably release it then.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to see like if he's still gonna test it out some more and see what he wants to do. Maybe if a label wants to pick it up, but if not, I eventually will. I'm planning to release it like before summer's over. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Exclusive Cafe con Podcast. Exclusive release. Damn, son, where'd you get this at? Bro.
And actually, sorry, real quick, like going back to the DJ scene and people playing music in Zurich, I realized like our influence in pop culture is very big because like they played a lot of hip hop in Zurich, which you would not expect. Like a lot of 50 Cent. Like I heard a lot of 50 out there.
Wow.
And the music scene, it's like a big music city too. So just like hearing people spin and stuff like that was cool. But yeah, sorry, I just had to plug that really quick.
No, bro. America sneezes and the rest of the world catches a cold. That's what somebody told us when we were in Norway. We did this overnight hike, and I was just talking to this guy that was driving us to where we started. And we were just talking about like just the state of politics, not to get into it or anything, but he just said whatever happens in America affects the rest of the world. That's just the way that it is.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
You know, with kind of anything. I mean, I think it's a global society nowadays. I don't think it's as prominent as it used to be, but it's certainly still, because what happens is they take that and they sort of make it their own when they go out, when you go out there. Bro, there's restaurants in Japan. I was seeing that they're like American diners. And it's like what they think Americans eat. And it's really funny. The stuff that they have, it looks really good. But it's, you know, it's just interesting how the culture of America permeates throughout everything. I mean, we're so multicultural too, dude. It's wild how much stuff comes from here that affects everywhere else. But George, what is this song, bro? What is this unreleased track?
It's just a house. It's a house track I made. It was super simple. I sent it out to some peers, and like people were like, "Oh, you should add this and that to it." I was like, "Yeah, I think it's just too simple." But I already had sent it out to a bunch of other DJs, and that just goes to show, like, if you just follow your intuition, that like once the work is done, just live with it. You know, like I can always make a remix of it, but it was funny how I was thinking, man, like it needs more, and all it took was one person to say it's good for me to play in front of hundreds of people. So that was cool to see that, because I kind of hit like I wouldn't say like a rough patch, but I definitely hit like like I was feeling stagnant. But I guess that's like the best moments to just keep creating, because something can come out of it. Um, but it goes back to what we were saying, kind of like how you were saying, like when America sneezes, the world catches a cold. I was watching this interview online with this guy, and he was saying, post your stuff online, because usually the last place you get accepted is from your community. Like
Yep.
it's inverted. Like there's people that will love this on other parts of the world, whether it be because they want to, grasp the culture we have, or just because they want to hear something different. So it's just made me realize now to just send more music out to different DJs and other producers, and start working with like vocalists and stuff. But not to get away too much. But yeah, the song is a house song. It's super simple. I've been posting it like here and there on my story. It's basically, I use the vocals from remember the song Hurricane Chris? Hey baby.
That's literally
Walk
what
up in the
Rose
club,
was
hey
just
baby.
singing. That's why I was like, why is he singing Hey Baby? Yeah, yes. I remember,
It's a really
yes.
simple song. I think I'm probably gonna drop it this before the summer's over for sure. Definitely. But yeah, a huge shout out to Jaden Thompson, the DJ that played my music, my song. The dude was like a young prodigy from a young age, and he's killing it now. So it was cool that he like it's just cool to see those videos, because it doesn't happen often. But to see people like it resonates with them, and they're like whistling and like just shaking their body to like dancing to it, and it's like
Does it
that's
take you
probably,
back to the moment you made it?
yeah, man. When you're in your room by yourself just dancing to it, and you're like,
Yeah. And
because
you
then
see
it's
it
always,
translate to another.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy, because it's already fulfilling that it's somewhat fulfilling that you made a song and finished it, and you like it. And it's a whole nother thing when it resonates with other people, because then it's like, okay, I feel like I'm doing something right. But then it's like, dude, it's cool to see people dance to music you don't make, right? But it's like when you see them dance to music you did make, it's like, damn, that's fire. Like, I'm doing something right, and it's to command a crowd like that is kind of cool. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's basically my spiel on that.
This is so, a total aside, I'm so proud of both of you. That's awesome. I feel like a proud papa.
We're proud of you, bro. We're proud of you.
I feel like
You've been staying busy, and things have been ramping up for you. I don't know if you can speak too much on it at this point.
No, I can talk about it because there's an article that dropped, so I can finally talk about it.
I threw that little alley-oop.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. But before we get into that, I wanted to tell you what you were talking about right now, George, where you're like, oh, I thought that this needed more, and then I said to some peers, we had discussed about, your whole recent journey about, how you moved to Orlando and you were doing all that, and how you had somebody tell you, like a mentor tell you, you don't need to be doing all of that, right? You don't need to be adding on all that. You already have the bones. And the fact that you sent something out without having to continue to add on shows your progress, shows that you learned. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't had a chance to talk about everything that you took from your journey up there to Orlando, but I think that right there is testament enough to show that was worth it. That part of your journey, your path, it was worth it because you learned, right? And even if you don't feel like you've learned, or even if you don't see it necessarily always happening, it's literally shown right then and there. The fact that you got somebody to do something out there, that's the other thing. Your idea of success is going to change over time. And going back to the cup being filled up, which was what I was going to say about you walking around in Zurich not wanting to have to do music, you were filling yourself up in those moments. It wasn't a priority to make music, because the priority was being present, was like experiencing life, filling that up. So then when you have that full life, you're able to create with that full cup, and that's why when you're in Milan, you're like, all right, I have something to be able to do, because I think that creation comes best from a place of relaxation and peace. And for me, at least, that's when I get into the flow, is when I'm calm. If I'm not calm, yes, doesn't mean that I don't need the pressure. Doesn't mean that I don't need all the other stuff happening around me. It's when, you know, like when you see somebody go to the free throw line and they're like, whew, everybody started doing that sort of more in recent times because Kobe was always on the line, calm. Nothing else was around him. He was in the middle of the Coliseum. All the people screaming was just noise. It ended up sounding just like a wave. You know what I'm saying? Just like a river. No matter what people were screaming, it was just white noise to him. That type of thing. So that calm and relaxation helps to create. And what you were saying, George, about stagnation, I heard something the other day where it's like, in the life of a man, there's no valleys, there's plateaus. So when you feel like you're stagnated, it's because you've come up to a plateau and you're not climbing. So you're walking on a plateau, waiting until you get to the next point in which you start to climb again. Right? So there's always peaks and valleys in life. I do agree with that, but just recognize that you're much further up than you think you are, because sometimes it's hard for us to turn around and look to see where we've come from.
That's a good perspective.
You know what I mean? So the valley is really a plateau that you're at, and you're just waiting to get to the next place. But yeah, to speak to what I'm doing, I don't know. I haven't talked to Rose at all about it, but I got cast. Do you know the show Dexter? Do you know the
Do you know the show Dexter? Of course,
not Dexter's Laboratory. Not Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Although that. I love that show, bro. Are you kidding me?
My mentor was trying for a whole week to he's like, I gotta watch videos before I talk to your friend again so I can reenact it. He's like,
Oh my god. Omelette du fromage. I love that show. I literally love Dexter's Laboratory. I got cast in the prequel to the Dexter show that was on Showtime or whatever. So I'm gonna be I can't talk about how much I'm gonna be in it, but I'm gonna be in. It's like my biggest thing that I've ever gotten. So really awesome, good things, and kind of talking to the stagnation point. I hadn't worked for like 3 years prior to this. I did the Netflix movie. I did some scripted podcast stuff, which was kind of like a radio play almost, which was really, really fulfilling.
That's cool.
So it's really interesting, bro. All right. So I worked with this studio called Wolf at the Door Studio in Venice. They're unbelievable. They've actually done some DC Batman stuff. I'll send you Batman Unburied. It's unbelievable. Okay. So I would go into their studio. They would have and they do music there too. They mix music, they produce music, all that kind of stuff. They'd have 4 or 5 mics set up sort of in like a half crescent moon, right? So each individual mic, and then in the center of all those mics, they'd have another mic right in the middle to kind of catch all the ambient noise. And then behind us, where we were sitting, they'd have this one mic that had literal prosthetic ears on each side.
That's
so
cool.
It would record the sound from the right ear and from the left ear. So when they extracted whatever that mic recorded, they were able to manipulate it. So like when you listen on Spotify or whatever, what is it called? It's stereo or mono. So it's in stereo. So they can manipulate it to where it sounds like it's coming from the right side versus the left side to create an atmosphere.
Like a 360.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So everything was to create atmosphere. The mic in the center of where we were in the moon was to create the ambient noise. And then the ones in the back was to create the right and the left. And then the one right in front of us was to get our lines, right? So the thing that they did that was unbelievable was create literal distance with just voice. So there would be times when, like, let's say the scene takes place outside on a street and there's taxis. They'd have the sound of the taxis already. They'd have like the sound of the taxi running over a puddle, and then I would go like, what the fuck, right? Because I was supposed to get splashed with the puddle with water. But they'd be like, oh, go back further away from your mic and say it louder, like, hey, like that. So it would sound like I'm talking and turn your head as you're talking, so it sounds like the actual literal sound waves are moving. It's not just about you being stagnant. So we would record like that. We did, I think, 9 episodes. Oh, wow. And it got nominated for these awards called the Ambies, which is like the Oscars of podcasts. So it got like the most nominations. It's a relatively new award show. But anyways, it was amazing. I did that. They are highly recommend listening. They have these things called modes of thought on Antaran literature, which is this whole fictional college class. And when you hear it, it sounds like they're in a giant college classroom and they're recording in a small studio. It's the wildest thing in the world. Like
cool.
they really just blew me away. When I saw that, I was like, this feels like theater. This feels like, because we could do whatever we wanted. You didn't have to worry about you with the camera there. Like, you could just go as big as you wanted, as small as you wanted. It picks up everything. And the guy that was the director, his name is Alex Kemp, he was saying how on a camera, which is interesting, his perspective, he says cameras can lie because you can manipulate what the camera's seeing, but a microphone picks up everything. So microphones, you can't lie into a microphone. I'm like, that's interesting to think about.
Sure.
You know, so, and you know, that's his perspective, and that's really, really interesting. He's a really interesting guy too. He's super artistic, plays music. He recorded all the music for the show. He's a really, really interesting dude. Highly recommend listening to any of their podcasts. They're all scripted podcasts. They're incredible. So I did that, and then I did like this movie with Taj Mowry. Do you remember Taj Mowry from Smart House and Sister Tia and Tamara's little brother? I did like a scene.
No way.
Yeah, dog.
That's cool.
I did a movie with him.
Right?
Huh?
Smart guy.
Yeah, smart guy.
Smart guy.
Smart guy.
The little
Yeah,
brother.
smart guy.
I always thought he was funny.
Dude, he was so funny. So I did a scene in a movie that he's the lead in, and that was all that I had done for like 3 years. And that's when we started this, because I was like, I need to do something creative. And those 3 years, you know, the way that I always talk about it, and I've talked about it with Sky like ad nauseum, is I had to find what my kidney was to survive, because you only need one to survive, right? So in those 3 years, when I didn't have work, when I didn't know what I was doing, all this stuff, I had to figure out what brought me joy and fulfillment in my life that was outside of acting, quite honestly, and outside of the industry. And I was still going to acting class every week. I should note that. Like, every week, I'm still doing my acting class, my scene study. And that brought me fulfillment and stability. But also having a stable home, a happy marriage, traveling, my dog, going outside in the sun. You know, all these types of stuff brought me joy and fulfillment to where I was like, oh, this is what I need to live. And then when I get an acting job, I love it with all of my soul, that it just exponentially increases my quality of life, right? So I don't need it to survive, but it brings that second kidney sort of thing. That's like the easiest way that I can describe it. But anyways, yeah, bro, I got cast in Dexter, and it was funny because like a few weeks before then, you know, I just turned to Sky and I go, what are we doing? Like, why are we, you know, we like LA. We don't love LA personally, but you know, we're here. We could do everything virtually. Should we move? Like, what are we doing? It's so expensive, all this stuff. And then this happens, bro. And the way that I got it was also very, just kind of like out of nowhere, you know?
Least expected.
Yeah, it's just been kind of out of nowhere. And the cool thing is when I told like Nick and them or whatever, this is what I love. They're like, bro, that's awesome, dog. So you're gonna be in Miami? Let's vibe. They don't give a fuck. It's the best. That's my favorite thing, is like when people really don't give a fuck. I'm like, that's awesome. That makes me very, like, I know that you guys give a fuck, but I know that you guys also could care less, type of thing. It's like, you're happy for me, but it's also not.
We want to see.
Yeah, it's not about, you know, that. Whereas again, just kind of being in an industry city, you tell somebody you're in it, they're like, really?
So what can you do for me now? You know.
So you're in this thing, Let me talk to you a little bit differently now. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? You just kind of have to learn how to maneuver that, which is fine. I'm very accustomed to doing that.
Tap both of those though, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a Champagne Problems, bro. I'm on a show, and it's incredible, and the people on it are unbelievable. It is such a blessing. And again, it's funny because it's calm. It's so calm being on it. Like, the people, it's peaceful. You know, it doesn't feel like there's any sort of unnecessary pressure attached to it from internally, from the people that are making it. It feels very much collaborative. This is the most collaborative I've ever been able to be in my position as an actor. I have a little more agency over what I want to do. I can bring some opinions. I can bring some of my thoughts, and it's awesome. You know, it's on this level. I'm like really grateful and obviously hopeful and all those things, but you know, it's just life, man. It's crazy that life is where we're at right now.
I think this intertwines really well with like what you're saying. It was peaceful and there was no pressure to like have to create immediately. And I think this intertwines really well with what Rose was dealing with while he was in Europe. I want to loop this back really quick, Rose, because you mentioned Arizona, how there was like, it felt like there was no time constraint when like on the opposite end, when we're in a studio, there's a time limit, right? So, I mean, I noticed right away the first night you guys created as much as possible, but then after that, after you guys were able to spitball all those ideas, the next couple days we still created consistently, but it just felt way more of like we were void of time and just the world, right? We were just feel like we were on Mars, just creating whatever we wanted whenever we wanted. So if you can just touch on that a little bit, because I think this is like an episode that's turning into letting people know to like get away and just do nothing, or get away and do something that you like to do, so there's no constraints or pressures of the world.
Yeah, you pretty much said it, man. It's really Mars, man, just carefree. It just felt like feeling is so underrated, man. Like, it's not underrated because we all feel, but it has to feel right, right? Like whatever you're doing, like, it has to feel. If it doesn't feel right, you know, and you may not think the people that you're trying to work with know, but they know too. And then it's a snowball effect, and then you're not going to get what you want out of whatever is happening because it doesn't feel right. And especially like when you're talking about something so personal like music or creating something, whatever it is, we're all creators. We can all do whatever the hell it is we want to do. It has to feel right, and specifically to Arizona, it just felt right, man. Like, and it was a large group of people. Like, you can't even get, you know, that size group of people to go on a trip together. Let's start there. Like having a group of people agree to go one place and to stay at this place. Like, that's hard enough. When you add another layer to it's like, all right, we're gonna bring an engineer out and nobody knows. We're gonna trust whoever said the engineer is good people. We're gonna trust them. Right? So then that you add that, and then you add the last layer is like, all right, we're gonna create something. We're gonna make music to capture this moment. That's just another layer. So it has to feel right. At the core of everything that we did that week, it felt right, and you hear it in the music. Like I think I was telling you, like I was driving with my uncle. We were going to Jacksonville for Mother's Day to be with like my mom and my grandmother and my aunt, and it was an awesome time. And he had never heard the album, and we were playing it, and it got to the end, and he was like, man, he said he was about to start crying when it got to Memory Folds, because he said we were tugging on strings. He's like, man, what the hell, like you did this and X, Y, and Z. He was like, yeah. And then, you know, it's those times you really get to hear, you know, like, damn, we did that. We did that for real. Just to add to what you said, as far as like the theme to, you know, getting away and letting go and being present. Another theme is like, you're almost there. You're there. Whatever it is, you're there. And the reason why I say that is because Hugh was just in the city for the event. He saw the performance, you know, he performed as well too. And then he went to a bigger artist. I don't know how to say his name, Black Street or whatever. He went to their performance in New York. His performance in New York, and he called me right after, and he was like, "Hey man, this is on my heart, this is on my mind. I just wanted to tell you, bro, like you're almost there. You're there. Just stay with it. You're there." And it goes to what Isaac was saying. We're talking to Sky, and you're like, man, what you doing here? And then you get this big, gig that just, or this big opportunity that just, I don't want to say falls in your lap, but stay consistent with doing the right things. God will bless you. Jesus will bless you. The
Amen.
universe will bless you. So just continue to walk in your purpose, and the right things will happen. You got to be present. That's very important. Sometimes you got to get away to be present. Sometimes you got to meditate to be present. Whatever it is you need to do to get to that state, to where you're in your own skin and very aware of everything that's going on around you. And it's not even just with creativity. That's like you get your best output and your best results when you're doing that. Whether you're in a workout, if I'm working out and my mind is somewhere else, I'm not going to get the best out of my workout. Might as well be wherever the hell it is my mind is. That's where you're at. Whether you think about whatever it is you're thinking about. So that's why I like working out too so much, because you're forced to focus on what you're doing.
Be mindful.
Yeah, be mindful of where you're at. Be mindful of what you're doing, and just stay present. Just have to. And I was thinking about it earlier today. That's why I love performing so much. That's why I love making music so much. Because nothing matters other than, like, I can't think about anything else other than my performance at that point in time, the words that I'm saying, how I'm interacting with the crowd. When I'm making music, I can't think about anything else other than what words I'm saying or how I'm saying, right? And that's the true gift, and the true reason why I continue to do this and why I love it so much.
Que bonito. That was beautiful. That I think is like we're at 1:15 right now. We're almost there, so we should start wrapping this up. But I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, let's make this. There's gonna be a lot more than part deuces of this, because this one also right there. You see, part deux.
We're international with it.
Yeah, little for Switzerland.
Exactly.
For Switzerland fans out there, you know what I'm saying? The Bardu. So,
You guys didn't know they speak French in Switzerland. Get your shit
and
together.
they speak Italian. There's an Italian side of Switzerland and a French side of Switzerland and a Swiss part, if I'm not mistaken. Which I had. There you go, the German part. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I had no idea until we went to London. We were having dinner with these people, and I was like, "Oh, a good friend of mine lives in Switzerland, Michelle, because Michelle and her wife used to live there." And I was like, they live out in Switzerland. She's like, "Oh, what part?" I'm like, "I don't know what the city's called." She's like, "No, like the Italian, the German." I go, no, Switzerland. She lives in Switzerland. No, but like the Italian or the German part. Switzerland. She lives in Switzerland. She's like, no, the Italian and German part. I was like, I didn't even know there was an Italian or German or French part of Switzerland. It's because of the Alps, right? So they all fall in like different parts of Switzerland. There you go. You see, you learn something new every day. All right, so to wrap this up, since we already asked you the questions last time, George, tell me are you cool with this? Because I was like, maybe we should ask, and I kind of want to ask both of you, and I'll answer too afterward, or I can answer first if you want. But I wanted to just change it up a little bit, and since this primarily has kind of taken on the role of creativity, all right, and also I kind of had another topic that I want to get our opinions on before I get to it, but it'll give you some time to think. I kind of want like a 1 to 2 sentence answer for us to give somebody who's having a hard time being creative or that wants to be creative right now. What would we say to somebody in a sentence that would encourage them to be creative and overcome whatever sort of internal obstacles that they may have? Just because we usually ask about vulnerability and steel tissue and resiliency, and then ask them about the fill in the blank sentence. But maybe because we've already done that, and since this is like the second part, we can kind of switch it up a little bit. But let's start with you, George. What would you tell somebody in a sentence or two? In terms of just encouraging them to be creative in any sort of way?
I mean, I could think already 2 different things, maybe 3. I would say the first one, which I didn't think of until like 2 seconds ago, is don't be hard on yourself.
Oof.
Like, and Rose knows this. Like I went months without making music for a while. Like this was maybe like early in the year, Rose, right? Or something like that. Because Rose would be like, "Hey, send me stuff," and I'm like, "I'm kind of not making music right now." I wasn't because I wasn't inspired. It was just more of like, I don't know. It was just I'll never stop making music, but what is there to say that there is going to be moments where I'm not going to be making music as consistently, right? Because I think yes, we all have responsibilities, and yes, we have to fill our cup of like being creative if you're at heart a creative. But I think like what I mean by don't be too hard on yourself is just remind yourself that the number one job you really have is to be a human being. Like don't like there's a funny joke like rule number one of life, don't die, right?
Yes.
So it's like
Yeah.
that you can layer that on with just like, hey, you can go somewhere and experience something, and it doesn't have to be in a creative aspect. And I guess that goes back to when people are saying like, oh, if you're ever like on a writer's block or a creative block, like go live life to get inspired. um yes, I believe in that, but also just go live life because that's what Earth is for, right? We're supposed to go outside, walk around barefoot, like just go experience life. Like don't be too hard on yourself. So that's the first thing. And then I would say the second thing, um there is going to be times too where like you don't feel like creating, but just still create, right? And maybe in different avenues. um what's helped me a lot from like when I'm away from the music is being around family. I've been around family a lot recently, the last 2 years, year or so, because I have two nieces now. Um, and then I guess to combat it more so, and instead of just like saying like don't be hard on yourself, if you feel like you have an itch to combat it, is I was telling my cousin this a couple nights ago when I showed him the videos of the guy playing my music. Is as a creative, there's layers to it. Like there's different phases of like I might have mentioned this, and to make a long story long, when you start making music, you're just trying to figure out how to put notes together, right? Like how to use music theory. Then the next layer is creating stuff that makes sense somewhat, but it's probably still not going to be good. And then the next level is making music that makes sense, that you like. And then the next step, which is probably the final step, is making music that resonates with other people. But what I had to come to realize was, and the reason why I'm saying all this is that I thought at a certain point in a certain age, which I became very bitter, which then became a growing pain, was I thought I had to like subsequently get to these levels, right? When it's not even, it's not like this, it's like this. So you're always gonna, it's natural because we're human. Like I said, don't be too hard on yourself. So it's always gonna happen a time in your life where you're gonna make good music, you're gonna make bad music, you're gonna make something that makes sense, something that doesn't make sense. Like you just have to roll with those punches. So, and that goes again to being like, don't be hard on yourself, because you have to make bad shit to make good shit, right? Like no one just wakes up one day and they're a good chef. Like you're gonna make stuff that you're gonna throw away in the trash, but it would not so much that it's like if it's edible or not. It's the fact that you made it, right? So you got, and it helps you eliminate like some processes that just don't work, and then again too, it just keeps that inner child playfulness. So it took me a while to realize that. I realized that like with this song, because I made that song and it resonated with him, but you're damn sure you can bet your bottom dollar that that same week or month I made music that's just gonna sit in my laptop. So it's like, don't be hard on yourself and just create, and don't create with like obviously there's a goal. Sometimes I'm like I want to make a really good song, but don't put so much expectations on the end result. Just get lost in the process. And I've applied that to a lot of different things in my life, whether it's my dating life, my family life, you know. Yeah, dude, like I feel like I'm flourishing now. Like I'll go to the gym and I'll go up to a girl and it's just like, if she says no, she says no. If she says yes, she says yes. So it's like, it kind of goes back to the videos I was making for promos for Brandon. I was like, if you like it, awesome. If you don't, awesome. At the end of the day, I'm a human being, so it's like I'm not gonna fake the funk of who I am you know, obviously you want to have some swag with it, but it's at the same time, it's just you're gonna get all those, I guess you can call it like the 5 levels of whatever of like stages of end result. But it's just realize that anything can happen, you know. It can be good, bad, ugly, and everything in between, but it's just just be a human. Just be a human through it all, I would say. So those are
That
kind of-
was 744
Yeah,
sentences.
yeah.
That was very good though. That was you almost hit 2 sentences. That was perfect.
Okay,
Almost.
so I'll put 2 sentences just to wrap it all up. First one is
Don't be too hard on yourself.
don't be too hard on yourself. And
I
then
love that.
And the second one is don't put expectations on what you're gonna do.
Don't fake the funk.
Don't fake.
I like
yeah.
that. That was the other thing you said that I was like, oh shit.
Don't put so many expectations, like that ruins the fun in it.
That was but what you said was beautiful. I was just busting your chops, but it really was beautiful.
Just,
what you
just
said.
to keep it simple, just
Yeah.
which my mentor says. He says, "Kiss, keep it simple, stupid." Acronyms.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, comma stupid. Like,
Yeah.
is he calling you stupid, or is
Yeah.
he saying keep
Yeah.
it like super simple,
I
like
think
stupid
both.
simple?
I think both.
Okay, that's fair. Because if there's a comma there, he's definitely calling you stupid.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
'Cause we're stupid. We're stupid. Like we're human beings. We're not.
No,
we're
I've
not-
talked to him. He likes the Celtics, so we could say the same thing to him. But that's a whole nother bag of tricks right there. All right. So I hope he listens to this, just to that part.
Yeah.
I like him, bro. I like that guy.
I
All
love
right,
him.
Rose. What is you can? I mean,
You
at
can
the
do
end,
25 sentences too. bro.
distill it to 2 sentences at the end.
Use
but
the
go
100
off.
sentences and then compress
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like I did.
I would say just do it.
Say it again. Say it again.
Just do it, because we only have one. In volume. So those stages, like, maybe just do it. We only have one. Like, we're writing our story every day. What do you want yours to say? And then volume. Like, I was reading this book on like financial literacy, and like, a lot of people, like some of the most wealthiest people in the world, they have a very diverse portfolio, but most of their wealth comes from like 1 or 2% of their portfolio, right? But in order to get to that 1 or 2% of just, exponential success, you have to have that diversity across whatever it is you do. You can't have that diversity if you just stick to one thing, or you might do it when you feel like it. Like, no, you gotta just, stick with it. When you don't feel like creating, create. When you do feel like creating, create. Whatever it is you need to do. Like, we only have one. Just do it. Get it out there. Those are my 3 sentences. Not as much as the end.
Oh yeah, you asked me to explain myself.
Nah, bro.
Listen,
We didn't get the George Michaelism until the end. Kiss. I was like, damn, we almost went a whole episode without a George Michaelism. That's impressive.
I
That's
only,
impressive.
I only had like a little amount of coffee.
No.
Usually I have half a cup. I had like this much.
Yeah, that's bro. But we needed it. We need it.
I'm here.
We
I'm
need
here
it.
for. That's what I'm here for.
My sentence is for encouraging somebody to be creative is just keep your why close to your heart. Just remember why you're doing it, because a lot of times you forget why you even do it in the first place. That's something that I learned from Pat Riley's book. He always talks about the why, right? That's a good coach. We were talking about good coaches. A good coach figures out every single player's why, and how they tick. Some people might need that tick, and be like, you're trash. Other people are like, remember, you're undrafted. Nobody thought you could be good. Other people are like, remember, you have a family to feed, your mom needs you, and they go wild. Other people need praise, whatever. But keep your why close to your heart, and remember why you're doing it. Because in times of stagnancy, I don't even think that's stagnation. In times of flourishing, it helps keep you. It just helps keep you in that sense of calm.
It's gonna keep
Remembering
you
why you do it.
motivated, and if it doesn't keep you motivated in those times of doubt, then you don't have a real why.
That's 150,000%. And my why includes you guys, to be honest. That's a large portion of it. And sometimes, you know, I got to remember why I'm doing it. And I think about you guys, and just the inception of our creativity started a lot. Honestly, when I was like 11, 12, that time frame. And, you know, it just keeps it going. So I think that's a beautiful way to end. But before we end, I want to ask you guys, what are your expectations for Joker Folie à Deux? The second Joker, because we were talking about Batman before. So let's not go on to a half an hour. Let's just keep it short. What are your expectations? I don't know. I think it's coming out in October.
Oh, this year?
Gaga's in it, right?
Gaga's in it.
Lady Gaga's
Yes.
in it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Good cast for that role.
Yeah, October 4th. October
She's playing
4th.
Harley Quinn.
Yep. That's what we think.
Good cast.
I think it's just gonna be
It's supposed to be a musical.
a
Really?
musical. Damn. Same. Wow.
That's a monkey.
I don't want to
wrench
have
right
any
there.
expectations because I went in expectations with the first Joker, and I left was like, what the fuck was that? So I'm just gonna go with a completely blank slate. I'm gonna expect a good piece of art.
Okay. That's a very good political answer. I am more hyped for it now. After I saw, have you seen the trailer?
No, I'll watch it.
All right.
I haven't.
Maybe don't watch it, but I'm more hyped for it now after watching the trailer. I'm more hyped for it. You know, I loved the first one. I can't watch it all the time because it's so depressing, but I loved it.
It's so good.
What do you think, George? What are your expectations?
I don't like musicals, but I honestly
The music
don't.
guys doesn't like musicals. What the fuck?
I know, that's what I was
I
about to say.
only like theater musicals. That's which theater is usually musical. But I think that they understand how good the first one is, that they better not fuck up this one.
Yeah,
And I think
agree.
it's gonna be really good actually.
I agree.
Because that
agree.
that first one's golden, bro. Like it's golden. I
Just the dancing scene in the bathroom. Okay, super quick aside, talking about not knowing where things come from creatively. They had a whole different scene set up for when he did the dance in the bathroom. Okay, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't working. So Todd Phillips told everybody to leave, and it was just him, Joaquin Phoenix, the cinematographer, and they were just like mulling over ideas. They're like, what are we doing here? I don't know. This is such a weird scene. It's not working. And then they had the music playing in the background, and Joaquin Phoenix just kind of started dancing. And Todd Phillips goes, just film him. So they just filmed him, and that's how that scene came about, where he's just like dancing in the bathroom. It's like one of the most famous scenes from that movie. It's things that don't happen when you're trying to force it to happen. It's just things that happen because you're in the breath of creativity type of thing. So also, side note, most theater is not necessarily musicals for theater people listening. George Michael said that. That's not necessarily true.
not most, but I mean what I meant to say was the only musicals I like are like when it's live.
Yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And on that note, gentlemen, I love you.
And
God
don't-
bless you.
Don't forget.
And don't you ever forget one thing. If you remember anything.
This is the Cafe con Podcast.
Bang. And bang. Suiza.
This is the Cafe con Podcast.